yeah, about the whole topic. So I want to say let's go to the pro over here, but it's it's not a joke I'm allowed to make. So yeah, huh? Too
Yeah,
late.
let's dive right into what I call the blanket days,
Yeah.
because I was basically a human blanket.
So yeah, how did it start it? Because yeah,
Ah,
I don't even know how something like this starts. So
to be honest, I don't even know when it started in me. I know when it got too much to handle, and that was, I think, 2.5 years ago or something like that, when I was like I think I was at the peak of my career, at least at the moment. uh I am now lower. um and I was so active in Discord chats and on Twitter and on Facebook groups, and I was constantly interacting with people, with fans of the game, not always fans of me, and that's really important. So sometimes I just felt like I wasn't feeling really great, and I came to those chats or groups or servers, and I wanted people to. I mean, this is gonna be pretty vain, but I wanted people to tell me that they enjoyed the music I did for the games, because that makes me really stupidly happy when some dude on the internet like puts a Twitter like, SOTUI music makes me go nuts and I'm so happy. I get so happy and I feel so thankful to that individual. So I came to those. I was all the time in the servers, maybe 4 or 5 servers at the same time. I was like, pa, 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 you know, and I was also on the PC, uh, and also participating in some online events as a DJ, but my gear was getting really fucked up, so I quit, and that was all. I will get back to that when I can afford proper gear. I promise.
you should.
So yeah, it was around that point where I realized um, I wasn't really happy every day, and that's like a thought that pops out,
Hmm?
and you're like, okay, yeah, I don't know how I feel, because no one like really teaches you how to deal with not just with depression, just with the alienation some of us suffer because we are different, or whatever, you know. And that kind of stuff, it's what like, I don't know how to say it, like, it's the beginning point for the really tough hit to start happening. And the first thing is that you feel like you're not okay, but it's not a big deal. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not okay, but yeah, I have a bad day or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
just to be certain, at this point you don't even realize that you have depression yet, right? If I understand
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, I was. I didn't
Okay.
know. I was totally clueless. I actually I didn't know how depression feels, and that's what I want to fight by voicing all this stuff in social media here. I'm gonna try and get the message to more people, because it's weird, and it's interesting also. Like, now that I got over it, it's kind of interesting because you kind of dive deep into yourself, and it's incredible how much stuff the brain can record, and you can recall stuff that happened 15 or 16 years ago that made you feel terrible, like if it was yesterday. It's amazing, but yeah, it's fucked up, obviously. So it starts like that. You're like, yeah, I don't feel okay, but it's just today, and maybe 2 weeks will pass and you will feel okay, and then you will be again the same weight. Maybe it's some kind of weight in you. It's kind of a heavy thing, and you're like, yeah, this is weird. Maybe I'm down or something. You don't think depression. I'm gonna make a really terrible comparison here, but it's like when you feel like it hurts here and you go to Google and it says you have cancer. Okay, yeah.
No, it's not a terrible comparison, but it's true because everybody does that, and then somewhere in a certain point of time, you type in something. Oh yeah, I have pain in my toe. Oh yeah, you have cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
or
I
you're
understand,
about to
yeah.
die. Well, it's that kind of deal. You don't think you have depression. You think you're down or you're sad because stuff happened, and it's also that. But it's also that you're not letting that stuff like flow outside you. It's kind of getting stuck within you, and you're too scared to voice it because you think, yeah, it's no big deal. People would be like, yeah, you're a little bitch, something like that. And I had people tell me that, but fucking, Um, and when it keeps getting worse and worse, uh, then you are like, yeah, okay, maybe I have to go to the doctor. And honestly, the day I went, I was pretty sure she was gonna say I was depressed. And yeah, she said it. Like it started like the kick started of the really tough moment was 2 years ago when I had a perfect job in theory. Well, I wasn't earning like a lot of money, but enough to wasting 13 watches and more stuff. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, but
whatever.
okay, so wait just a second. So the doctor said, or the psychologist said that you have depression. Okay, so now you know that you have depression, but on the other hand, do you also feel joy in other kind of things, or nothing felt joyful at that moment?
Yeah, like there's there's some point where you almost stop feeling joy about anything, but that's like the most deep you can be in that. Well, but most of the time when you are going like this, because it's like this, you start here and you start going like this. It's not like bum. No, that's not how it works. It's going like this. So you feel joy, of course. I kept making music. I kept hanging with people. I kept spending money. That is something that cheers me up like a lot. Even if I'm really broke, it cheers me up insanely. And that's not good, but that's how it is. So yeah, I like to buy things for myself, even if I shouldn't. But sometimes you have to think about yourself also. So I felt joy, of course, but I kept having that heaviness within, and that heaviness it gets to someday it gets to a point where you're like, yeah, this is not going away, and I don't know what it is, but I don't really like it. It's not fun. Like maybe I was watching Saturday Night Live or something like that because I really enjoyed that stuff, and suddenly I start feeling really sad. Like suddenly, like bam, and you're sad as fuck, and it doesn't make any sense. And then it's when you think, yep, maybe I'm not okay. Maybe, I mean, and that's when I decided to go to the doctor because it started as anxiety, but what my psychologist found out by all the therapy and stuff we did is that I've probably been depressed for like 7, 8 years, but it was really mild and like it was like background noise. But when anxiety got so extreme, it went like this, and when anxiety left, it went like this, and then went like and started going down. So I don't know how long I had depression for, but I know that the worst times was like 2 years, maybe. The deepest was like 1 year, which is more than enough. Like it's yeah, it was cool not to be in that depth all the time. And yeah, my doctors really, really helped me, like a lot. Talking with people that feels this way helps a lot, and not only you, but the other person. Like I still have anxiety. That's why I vape CBD all the time, and I also have like a tiny dose of meds just to be able to sleep and not have nightmares. Uh, but I'm pretty okay in that sense. And I have friends, and I discovered that the tiny amount of friends I have, most of them are like this, which makes you think, yeah, maybe there's something wrong in society, which is something I'm really sure right now. And I really analyzed all that stuff in my head because when I was like so deep in depression, you don't stop thinking. You think more than ever. You spend all the time thinking and just straight up suffering. It's it's ridiculous in some sense because you have no reason for feeling so miserable, but you can do anything about it. So you are like, okay, yeah, fuck it, I'm like this, and I'm gonna seem like a human blanket for the other people out there, but I'm gonna think about all of this. And I thought a really, really lot. Now, replying to I don't know how to read that name. No, I never imagine scenarios that won't ever happen. No, it was like the greatest hits of all the shitty stuff people did to me in my life. I like to call it that way because I imagine it with a really cool cover, like 80s style font or something like that. And it was like that. It was like the greatest hits of all the shitty stuff people did to me. And you keep like feeding on that negativity. And it doesn't matter how hard people who are around you want to pull you out of that. The only one who can take you out of there is yourself through obviously professional help and education of society, starting obviously with all the people that surround you, And I have to say it, it's not easy to learn how to bear with someone who is going through that. Like it's fucked. Like my girlfriend had a really tough time about that, because you don't want to do anything, and I mean anything, and you know what I mean. Like, and all that stuff keeps like accumulating, and I'm glad I decided, I just felt so desperate that I was like, I'm gonna go to the psychologist, and I went, and that was all. And they really help. They really do help, because they first give you meds for controlling your emotions. It's interesting. They are not like quite there in what like science of controlling emotions is, but they are able to suppress emotions. So the stuff for the anxiety makes you feel relaxed and that, well, everything is okay, kind of. And the depression stuff just make you stop thinking. It's like it suppressed yourself. It suppressed you like at maximum. Also, I had to take like a really high dose, like a really high dose. It was hard to quit. I was like a junkie, and it was hard in that way. But that stuff is the like the first step is having the meds, so you can be a functional human, so you can think how can I get out of this and start going to therapy. Because if you are not medicated at all and you are so deep in that well, that abyss, therapy won't do anything for you, because it's simply you're there, but you're not there. You're just physically there. So when meds help you manage your emotions, you're able to think and to start progressing. And it was really interesting, because my psychologist, what she did, the first session was asking me, when did you think this started? And I told her, I don't really know. So she told me, okay, tell me all your life. And that's what I did, because I really love talking and I was paying for it. So why not?
So yeah, so you better make use of the money.
Yeah, so I spent 2.5 hours talking about my life. And when I finished,
wait, in those 2.5 hours, was it those 2.5 hours was enough to tell everything about your life, or do you needed another 2.5 hour section after session?
Well, it was kind of compressed.
Okay.
I kept telling stuff the next session, but just more like, remember when I told you about this? Okay, now let's talk about this, what happened in that exact same time. So when I was finished telling her about my life, she was like, yeah, you told me you had a good life. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, okay.
That was a slap in the face.
That really explains a lot, because I should have had a good life, because my parents are both really good people. My two little brothers, well, brothers and sisters, brother and sister. Holy shit. They are really nice, and they always taught me to be a nice guy. The problem came from outside, from how shitty some people are and how entitled they think they can be towards making you feel bad about being yourself. And that's something that I really do. First, I do not understand it because I'm a really logical and practical dude, and I don't see, I mean, it's not practical, it's not logical, it's just you want to be shitty, and that's not even doing anything good for you. In fact, you are building like a really shitty life for yourself doing that to others, because that's another thing. The people who made me suffer since I was a tiny guy have shitty lives right now. None of them have a good life because they always were bad to others, and like karma exists. So yeah, they ended paying for their stuff. Well, some of them were junkies, so they are dead, and I don't give a fuck about that, honestly. They got what they were working towards. So, but yeah, so after all that, she was like, okay, so starting from this point where you realize that you didn't have a good life, of course you did have good stuff in it. So you have to kind of focus on that. And when she asked me what the two best things in my life are, I replied first, my girlfriend, because I literally would not be here if it wouldn't be for her. And second, music, because it's part of what I am. And it's just me. And she was like, okay, let's focus on that. So I focused on that. My lady attended too many sessions with me. She also suffers some anxiety because she is like 23 years old and realized the world is pretty fucked up place to live in kind of recently. So it helped her, and it helped me, and it really helped us as a couple to keep going forward. And it's not an easy journey. I think life isn't an easy journey for anyone. I think it gets tough anytime.
Can be
Yeah.
easy for some circles.
Yeah, but it can change like that, even in those circles. It's just so random, you know. So I don't know. And the fact that my lady was suffering when I was suffering, which is pretty stupid if you analyze it like really objectively. Like, I'm suffering and I'm making her suffer, and her suffering is making me go suffer more and feel guilty, and that's stupid, but it is what it is. But that feeling of guilt helped me fighting, because I didn't have the strength to fight for myself, but I had the strength to fight for her, and that's what kept me floating, and that's what helped me. And I gotta say, I think I'm now stronger than ever, and way stronger than most of people, because if you don't go through this, you don't know how hard you can be on yourself, you know? And it's it's not something that I would recommend to people. Like, you gotta get tougher, just get some depression, enjoy it, No,
Yeah,
it's not
you
like
know,
that, but it makes you stronger.
the thing is, a lot of people say quite easily, like, yeah, you gotta toughen up, and yeah, you can do this. But I did it once, and that wasn't really a good idea, because for them, being tough, they are already fighting for their lives, and then by adding something, yeah, just toughen up, it's
It
disrespectful.
just adds pressure. It just adds unnecessary pressure. It doesn't have any sense. And so yeah, if someone is going through this, and I know people that I know for a fact that a lot of people who follow me, who is in my server, who follows you, will see this and feel like, okay, yeah, I'm not okay. First of all, you can DM me anywhere, and I will always find the time for replying to that stuff. I can really proudly say that I saved some dudes from suiciding, and those dudes are my biggest fans to date, and they are awesome. So I want to help people that are going through this, and it's something that it's only growing. More people will have this over time, because the state of the world, the way even the music industry by itself, it's like a meat grinder for the minds of artists, I think. And I see many times in my timeline, I have a really big network of artists within the rhythm game scene, and I saw someone's, and I was like, yeah, this guy is depressed. And like 2 months later, they were like, yeah, I have depression, blah blah blah. So the most important thing is, if you suspect you are depressed, yes, speak out. Like, call for attention. Yeah, stupid people and
Okay,
assholes will
call for
tell you,
attention, but not on the internet.
yeah, kind of. It's this is kind of a tough one, because you call for attention on the internet, and two good guys will appear, and 1,000 bad guys will appear. So you have to kind of stick to the good ones and ignore as much as possible the negative ones, because at that point you're fighting for your life, and they are just fucking around behind their screen just before watching their favorite anime. I mean, they don't give a fuck about your life, and you do. So you have to focus on what's important. So you have to admit it. There's nothing wrong. It's like breaking your leg. Like, you can break your leg and you're like, yeah, I broke my leg, and I'm like in rehabilitation, or that stuff. um well, if you are depressed, you're depressed. You can say it, and no fucking one should judge you because of that. Because if someone judges you because of being depressed, then that person doesn't deserve your time, or even your thoughts. Yeah. It's like, yeah, fuck him. It's not worth your time. So anytime you feel like you need help, ask for help. We are really connected